And fuck it, we'll do it live. What's up, everybody? If you're still tuned in from the Triple Clown show that we just did covering Saturday's Pick 5 at Parks Racing, and you have tuned into this, I thank you, but get a life, because damn. But if you're still on the channel, I'm AJ Ryder. To my left, right, my good buddy, former tag team partner, Tyler Cintron. What's up, bud?
I'm feeling it with you. You know, we were on the road for work this week in Chicago, so a little bit of jet lag. But now that we're live, it kind of gets that blood pumping, and hopefully we'll throw out some picks and ride that high that we rode last weekend and throw some winners out there, and hopefully everybody else makes some cash along with us.
I don't want to brag, but we had a pretty good Sunday.
We did. We had we were 7-2. The both of us go into Sunday Night Football.
Yep. 7-2. I was really hoping, the Saints really let me fucking down because I thought that was going to be a lock, and then I would have been 8-1, and I could have at least came on here and bragged that I did better than you. But because we both had kind of a miserable Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night salvaged me quite a bit. Thank God. I went 5-0 on the Saturday night slate.
Speaking of Saturday night, let's talk. Well, we start with college, so we'll start there. How about them USC Trojans?
Oh, I think. I mean, you and I. I mean, you have deeper ties to them. I was a big Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Dwayne Jarrett jumping on that bandwagon back in the day. So I've always had a heart for those power, prestige, blue blood college football programs. But man, when they were down 14-0, you and I were, sending messages to each other about how much, we're just a glutton for punishment. And then, what was it, 45 unanswered?
Then Jackson Dart comes in relief for Keaton Slovis and just put on a show.
Yeah, if the folks haven't had a chance to watch that, go back and watch. That kid is so much fun to watch. He throws that football with no regard. He's just slinging it all over the field.
And a true freshman coming in and doing that, that's absolutely crazy. It reminded me a lot of when Keaton Slovis first took over the starting job there at SC. He came in relief against Utah, who was ranked, I think, 10 at the time, and USC was an abysmal, probably 5-3.
Yeah.
And Keaton Slovis comes in, does the same thing Jackson Dart did. I mean, it's like SC's second string quarterbacks are just like Ryan Fitzpatrick on the bench, just waiting to come in and just sling it. Like they get on the field, they're just gonna launch them, and it's glorious to watch. The other team we got to talk about, and I know you don't want to do this, but we have a Miami SC bias here pretty bad. And, oh, man.
So I think it's time we break out the first prop that we've ever broken out on the show.
All right.
I am an idiot sandwich for taking the Miami Hurricanes as often as I do. I have taken them in every game this season, and I have lost all 3 bets that I have placed on them. So I'm putting myself on timeout from the Miami Hurricanes. I follow that program closely, have since I was a 15-year-old kid in my mom's basement watching Sean Taylor just knock people around. I think it's time for me to come to terms that Miami Hurricanes dynasty era is long gone and has been for a good 15 years. That they just
well over a decade.
Hey, it was a grieving process. But in all honesty, I would not be opposed to a coaching change. They just looked flat when Michigan State punched us in the mouth. There was just no punch back. I understand De'Aaron King is an electric athlete, but that Rhett Lashley, Gus Malzahn type offense just feels too gimmicky at times instead of just fundamentally running the football, getting a short passing game into rhythm. It's all of these different looks and movements and double passes and whatnot. That's not Miami Hurricanes football. So I am the idiot sandwich for taking that pick last week. That was a fine part of my 0-4 start to college. So we are staying away from the Miami Hurricanes for the rest of the season.
You'd think just try betting whoever they're playing.
That would actually be profitable.
But then they'd finally cover.
Right. And I even talked about it on my Instagram when I go live 15 minutes before kickoff. That's probably the pick where I would take the money line dog. I would take Michigan State after watching them just run and trounce Northwestern. But yeah, I set myself up for failure on that one. I saw it coming 100% looking me in the face, and I took it dead on, and I lost.
Yeah. Oof. That whole day. Yeah, the Sunday night or the Saturday night games were a lot better for me. Notre Dame covered. I took them. SC. I think those are the only two I hit that whole day.
Yeah,
those noon games are rough.
I was with you on the Trojans. I actually pushed on the over with Alabama and Florida. I mean, looking back on that game, if the Florida kicker makes that extra point early on and makes it 21-10 instead of 21-9, and then they're not having to go for two at the end of the game, we got a 31-31 ball game with less than a minute left. I think there was more time on the clock, but Florida had all of the momentum to win that game. If that one shank kickers and the way they impact games, it is crazy.
Kickers and punters.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's so overlooked all the time too, but I mean, this whole game is just based on field position.
Yep.
I mean, if you look back and just, look at the tail of the tape of just where you're starting drives and time of possession, typically you can kind of figure out the score for yourself.
Yep.
That turnovers, field position, two most important things that rarely get talked about, it feels like. But so enough talking about how we sucked last week. What are we looking at for tomorrow?
So, full transparency, I always admit when I lost, and if I was in town, I would have bet Appalachian State and Marshall over 68.5. It was pacing over 70 at halftime, and it finished under. I think it finished at 61 was the total. So, there's some large point totals this weekend. So tonight, I'm actually looking at Wake Forest and Virginia. Wake Forest is at Virginia. Virginia's 3.5-point favorites. The total is 70. With what Virginia and North Carolina did last Saturday night, you almost want to say, yes, that's definitely going over with the way Wake Forest can move the ball. I spoke about it last week with all the pieces they have back on that football team. I actually like Wake Forest to win the game outright more than I do the total, just because that's so high. But then again, some of these 70-point totals just get blown out of the water, and they're finishing in the 80s. So that's one that I'm looking at tonight. I have a thing for road dogs or home dogs plus the points, excuse me. That's actually been very profitable and hit a couple times last weekend for me with San Diego State, namely, and then winning outright. Should have sprinkled that a little bit too. Liberty at Syracuse. Staying away just because Syracuse, I took them at home as dogs against Rutgers, and they lost to Rutgers at home. So staying away from that. So not a whole lot going on tonight. However, tomorrow, let me actually get my notes back up. There's a few that I'm looking at, and this is, I tweeted and tagged you in one that was a theory that I was thinking about. In the last 2 weeks, it would have hit. So when Notre Dame struggled against Toledo and didn't cover, like almost lost outright, I was like, man, Notre Dame isn't as good as we thought, and Florida State was flying high with them. Maybe Florida State is down in the dumps. So I was looking at it, I was like, should I take Jacksonville State plus 27.5? Definitely would not have taken them like even a sprinkle on the money line. But however, I mean, even if they wouldn't have had that Hail Mary, just one of the worst defensive plays I've ever seen, and win that game outright, they would have covered the spread. So there was a pick that I should have taken, but I didn't. Rewind to last week. I'm looking at UCF, who I took the cheese on. I took them to cover 7 against Louisville, and they lost outright. So I'm thinking, maybe Boise State isn't as good as we were thinking about, because Boise State jumped out to a lead. They came back. Boise State actually covered the 5 points in that game for me, so that was good. And then they lost outright to Oklahoma State. So it's testing those theories and keeping an eye on games where you're like, where something jumps out that you thought was going to happen. It was the complete opposite to kind of tail that. So the game that I'm looking at this week on that thought process is Texas A&M and Arkansas, neutral site game. So with my picks, rewinding the clock a little bit, I was so high on Colorado, minus 2.5 over Minnesota. They lose 30-0 to the Gophers at home. The week before, and the reason I took that 2.5 points was because they hung tight with Texas A&M for an entire football game. So if I'm going to play that tomorrow, and that line keeps switching between 4.5 to 5.5, I would probably take Arkansas plus 5.5 off of that long, rambling sequence that I just gave. Do you have any thoughts, any insights on that theory? Do you agree, disagree? Am I thinking it too much? Am I talking too much?
I'm trying to narrow down what exactly it was.
So Notre Dame doesn't cover against Toledo, almost loses.
Right.
And I should have jumped at Jacksonville State because Florida State and Notre Dame had that amazing Monday night game.
And so you're jumping on Arkansas because
Texas A&M and Colorado were in a slugfest.
The Colorado, that's okay.
Yeah, and then Colorado gets blown out by Minnesota, who I don't think is any good.
Okay. Well, I guess I was just trying to look and see what where the money was on that one because I'm kind of interested to see what the public feels like on that game. But I cannot find it. What time is that game?
Let me look here. It would be 2:30 Central.
2:30.
The CBS SEC game of the week, it looks like.
I can't find where yes, I can. 75% of the money right now on Arkansas.
Which scares me.
68% of the tickets.
So that scares me a little bit because the public sometimes is the best strategy of all for some odd reason.
Vegas doesn't lose.
No, they don't. No, they do not. So keep an eye on that. We'll obviously regroup on that next week. But now that you give me those facts and stats of where everything's at, probably I might sit that one out. I mean, I'll tweet out my full slate tomorrow morning after I overthink and digest everything tonight. Few other games that I'm looking at. That home dog scenario for me has actually been very profitable, and I will probably keep with that until it completely burns me. I like Mississippi.
Which it did. What was it? Thursday? Friday?
Yeah. Well, last Friday, both home dogs covered. I took the road favorite. So I went against I faded myself and lost. And that's a very Cintron-like thing you all will get to learn over the course of time. So I'm looking at Mississippi State outright. Depending on what sportsbook you're looking at, they're going to have different odds on the money line. I don't think LSU is LSU. I think they caught a flash in the pan. I think Singletary's questionable, probably going to sit that one out. Mississippi State coming off a very strange loss to Memphis. Again, another home dog that won outright last week. I think Mississippi State's going to be fired up for that game. I think they're better than what they showed. They put the boots to a very good NC State team at home a couple weeks ago. So I like the Bulldogs at home on the money line over LSU. Another one that I'm looking very, very close at, the Clemson Tigers at NC State. NC State always plays Clemson tough, no matter what. Always. They're getting 10 points. And after Clemson looking not like Clemson last week against a not very good Georgia Tech team, I will probably take NC State plus 10 in that game. Veteran experience, synergy with the coaching staff, experienced quarterback, that all helps those types of upsets go. I'm already taking a deep breath over it because it feels strange betting against like a Clemson or an Alabama, but I also have to understand this Clemson team is not the Clemson teams of the past. They don't have Sunshine out there ripping it up.
I'm so disappointed in DJ Ukulele.
Yeah.
Whatever. Because when he came in last year when Trevor Lawrence was out with COVID, and you seen that like 6'9", just massive human being looking guy come in and play quarterback, like, oh, Clemson's set. Like, they're going to be good for another 4 years. And then he has not been as advertised. I feel like when we seen him last year in that Notre Dame game, correct?
Correct. Yep. Yeah. He threw like 400 yards in that game.
And then this year, you'd think he'd just come out and set the world on fire, but he's, not been there. Yeah, they're a very disappointing team.
Yes. When we were chatting a little bit this week about things we can talk about, I wanted to do a segment called "Talk Me Out of It." And this is my talk me out of it pick of the week. So last week would have been Miami minus 6.5. This week I'm looking at Louisville at Florida State going against my home dog scenario. Louisville is only a 1.5 favorite. Louisville is an exceptionally talented football team. Ole Miss put the boots to them in the beginning of the season, and I think that shied me and a lot of people away from them. So I love Louisville minus 1.5. Florida State isn't Florida State. Miami isn't Miami. I've come to terms with it all. You got any insight there? It looks like the public money's probably going to be on Florida State because I think this thing opened up at 2.5 and it's down to 1.5 now.
Let's find out. It's searching through all these fucking college games trying to find disinformation is driving me insane. Public money, 58% of the tickets, or 58% of the money is on Florida State still. 40% of the tickets. So bigger money coming in on Florida State. Most of the public is betting on Louisville. 1-2 against the spread. Both of them were 1-2 against the spread. Florida State's 0-3. Louisville's 2-1.
Yeah.
That's a messy game.
Yeah. Something stinks. I might just go small on that one. Throw a few on just because, that Miami blood still, it's going to come back up. We don't like Florida State. We'll bet against them.
Bullshit. They haven't won a game yet this year. Why would they now?
And a 3-point win covers the spread. So I'm okay with that. I feel very confident about Louisville making this a statement game as well, much like UCF last week.
Well, and it's so hard to bet a team where, you just lost to a 1AA school. And then you've got your fucking right tackle out there proposing to his girlfriend.
That was wild.
And you just gotta judge the fact that no one talked him out of it.
Right.
This is not a good moment for them. I just have to question the judgment by everyone in that locker room right now.
Yeah, and it's the Florida State Seminoles. Yeah, they haven't been good since Jameis left, but they're the Florida State Seminoles. That losing to Jackson. It was Jackson. I think it's Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State.
Jackson, yeah.
Ohio Valley Conference, baby.
Yeah. I mean, you lose to that team at home? That might be one of the worst losses in Florida State history. So now you're proposing? Yeah, that could have waited till after the game. Maybe the next morning at brunch. I don't know.
Or maybe you wait till you win one.
Yeah.
You have to start your life together right that second. Just the timing there. If I'm the coach, because you would imagine everyone kind of goes into this game knowing that he's going to do this. You would think, right?
You have to.
If I'm the head coach, or if I'm anyone in that staff, I'm going to be like, maybe let's wait.
Yeah.
Maybe
they give this one. If you're the dude holding the ring, maybe just you go to the locker room. Don't give him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just oh, sorry, I forgot. We just lost. So I was more focused on that.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. I could never bet Florida State. I would like to talk you out of it. That's what you want me to talk you out of taking.
But if you can't, that's a good sign too.
Yeah, I can't though. I can't trust that team. Such a shitty team. What are you playing the Wisconsin Notre Dame at Soldier Field? You were just there yesterday.
Yeah, it was great. I actually drove around it, got to see the game day setup, the Fox setup. So there's a lot of good buzz going on there. Honestly, I don't bet on the Badgers much. I like them so much that I named the dog after them. So obviously being from Wisconsin, I really just want a Badgers win. That 6-point spread is kind of surprising. So if I was, I'd probably take Notre Dame +6 because the vibe I get, it's going to be a 23-20 game one way or the other. Wisconsin's defense is so good, but then again, revenge game for Jack Cohn going back against the Badgers, same kind of thing. The Badgers going up against Jack Cohn. So a few dynamics to work with there. If anything, I'm going under 46, I think is the total in that one right now.
Who lost a home game there? Who's the actual home team?
It's got to be I think it's Notre Dame. Yeah. Because so they would be home because last year it was supposed to be at Lambeau Field where Wisconsin would have been the home team.
Okay. I don't get that. I feel like going to Soldier Field, why would you not want to play at Notre Dame Stadium?
Yeah, I don't.
I guess you're getting paid unless NBC, Fox, somebody's covering the bill for you. I just feel like that's a weird move.
Yeah, it's the early kickoff on Fox too. So got something fun to watch kickoff today. But yeah, Wisconsin's defense is so good. I'm still not sure about their offense. It's your prototypical Wisconsin team of running the football with a back that's going to carry it 35 times and just play strong defense and win by 2 or 3 points.
All right. Well, here's what I want you to talk me out of because I really want to bet this game. I really do. I want to take Rutgers to cover against Michigan. Rutgers 3-0 against the spread. It's the first Big Ten game, but still. Rutgers look pretty good. I really want to think that they're going to be as advertised, but then you come in, going into the big house. 21 points, I believe it is.
Yep. I think it got all the way up there. It's been floating at 20.5 to 21. So I'm still not sure if Michigan's back. I mean, they got some good quality wins. I mean, they opened up. They covered against Western Michigan. They covered against the Washington team that lost to Montana, and they covered against Northern Illinois last week, running the football like crazy. This does have the signs of the classic old school Big Ten run the football, slap each other in the face on defense type matchup. So I'm torn on which way I would go if I was playing it, but with what I just said, with the run the football, slap each other in the face, Greg Schiano is not a bad football coach, especially for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And Harbaugh is going to run the football and try to control the tempo of that game. I don't think I can steer you away from a 3 touchdown point differential on that.
3-0 team, 3-0 against the spread, and you're going to give me 3 touchdowns? Yeah, dude, I just feel like that's got to be. And look, when they go up there and just get bitch slapped by Michigan, I'm sure by like 40 points, probably, I'm going to look really dumb.
Yeah.
And that'll be my idiot sandwich moment. But right now, man, I feel real good about the Scarlet Knights. I mean, college football started there. I just found that out from Eli Manning, Eli's Places. That's where college football started. They've got like a statue that's actually like 6 miles away from where the game was actually played. The first football game was actually like in a Ralph's parking lot or something. So
interesting.
Yeah. Shameless plug here for no reason for Eli's Places on ESPN Plus.
Hey, we like Eli in these parts. Do you watch him in Manning or him and Peyton's broadcast on Monday night?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. One of the most legendary things I think was said on that broadcast, and I can't believe no one heard it, like talked about it as much as when they had Favre on. And Peyton's trying to be all technical. Yeah, Brett, they're playing a lot of 2 deep safeties here, really trying to make Aaron be patient. What did you do when teams would do that to you? Brett's just like, I don't know. I just figured out who had the deepest route, and I'd throw it there.
Accurate.
Which is what he did. Yeah. I'm big on the Scarlet Knights there. Who else did I have? My college picks are all over the place here. I might tag along with you on Arkansas there. Or maybe I'll fade you. The public's going the other way.
Fade the public is probably a better player than riding with me.
No. Do you have anybody else, or what was?
Yeah, so I got my eyes actually on 4 other games I'm going to dive into tonight. Right now, I'm liking Michigan State to cover 5 at home against Nebraska. I think they're getting a lot of love for hanging with Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma's Oklahoma this year. I like Kentucky -5 this weekend. They are actually a really good football team. I like watching them play. They're gritty. They play really good defense. I don't think South Carolina's overly great, so I'm going against the grain here with my home dogs plus the point scenario here. So this one might come back to bite me. But I really like Kentucky to, keep an eye on that to keep competitive with Florida.
You keep talking about that being your angle, and you don't play it ever.
Hey, I talk myself in, I talk myself out of it. That's why we talk these things through. But obviously didn't have a chance to fully prep for everything with traveling this week. So that's what I'm looking at tonight. I actually like BYU quite a bit at home. They're getting they're 23-point favorites against South Florida. Florida ran the score up on them and then called the dogs off a little bit. BYU at home coming off 2 huge wins against ranked teams. I think BYU takes this game to really make a statement and have a comparable matchup as Florida as they push for the playoff, because BYU, the way the rest of their schedule lines up, they might run the table. I think they got USC the last week of the season, and that's the only game that they have potential of losing. And on that note, I'm taking the USC Trojans, 11-point favorites at home against the Oregon State Beavers. I think the Beavers will keep it competitive, but Trojans will come through in the end by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous now that Keaton's back up, because I just want to see more Jackson Dart just out there slinging it. But, I mean, Keaton's got to play now because he knows his job might be in jeopardy.
Yeah, and he was the Heisman Trophy coming in this season. We've both seen him do great things throwing the football around. So hopefully they open up the offense a little bit more like they did last week. I mean, Drake London is about as good as it gets, in my humble opinion. I love watching that dude play football. He's just a menace out there. He's almost impossible to cover with that length. It's just so much fun to watch. But that's what I'm looking at for college this week. Do you have anything else you want to chat about, or do you want to head on over to the NFL?
No, I'm gonna take both Los Angeles-based Pac-12 football teams this weekend. Got to tail the Trojans. I mean, I can't not do it. And then I'm going to take UCLA -5 against Stanford. I think that line should be bigger. I know Stanford beat USC, but that whole day, fucking kicker gets kicked out for targeting in the first play on the opening kickoff. I mean, it was just an abysmal night from start to finish. I think UCLA's not bad. I think they're actually pretty good, and I think that line should be more like 2 touchdowns, not 5 points.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch Fresno State and UCLA by chance?
I did. A little bit. I didn't. Yeah, I had it on with a couple other games.
Yeah, I headed to the casino and watched all those night games at once. That was so much fun to watch. I had Fresno +11 parlayed with the over, so I was sitting there in all my glory, happy as a lark, ready to go cash that out, and watching them come back, take the lead. UCLA, take the lead, and then Fresno finish it. Their quarterback is gutsy. He just got pounded all night, and that's why I'm staying away from him tonight too. Usually you'd say, yeah, Fresno -31 against UNLV, easy cover, but I think they're going to rest a lot of folks tonight after that big emotional win last week. But that's a lot of fun. I recommend everybody go back and watch that. If that was on ESPN or like an ABC primetime, that's all anybody would have been talking about all week.
Yeah, the SEC gets so much love, but there's some good football over there on the West Coast. It just feel like a lot of times we don't get to see it because they're always on so fucking good. No, yeah, I'm tailing both LA-based football schools, and I kind of want to take Notre Dame. It's at 5.5. I'm seeing right now 45.
Ooh, so the total's going down. What do I got out here? Circa college. One of the first. Ooh, you can get a +6 out here right now, and the total's at 45. Like I said, 23-20 type game. I would take Notre Dame if I did. I'm not betting against the Badgers ever in my life. I usually just stay away.
Solid move, which I feel like I should do with the Packers sometimes.
Yeah.
I never do. No, so that's the college football slate for now. Oh, Florida -18 over Tennessee. Tennessee's garbage.
Yes, they are.
So I think they should cover that pretty easily as well. That'll probably be another one of my picks. I have not decided on it, but I just seen it on the Bovada line up there, so I'm quickly going to hop on that. Tweet those out tomorrow. Let's move on to the big show, big Sunday stage.
Did you play the game last night? Did you take the cheese?
You know I fucking did. God, that's my idiot fucking sandwich moment. God. Okay. I almost forgot because I've been kind of like sick the last couple of days, and it didn't even it's Thursday. There's a game on, and I kind of looked at it very last minute, and I just seen and Texans +9. Well, fuck, they just covered against the Browns, and that was 10. They should easily cover. Yeah. But who would have thought fucking Sam Darnold's good at football? Jesus.
It's amazing what happens when you get away from Adam Gase and the New York Jets.
It's crazy that dude has a job anywhere. Yeah. When you just look at that is the perfect just example of this guy is bad. You held Sam Darnold, you took away 3 of Sam Darnold's young good years and forced. I mean, that New York Jets team, that's what a fucking
and they're still
disaster.
Abysmal.
Which just that situation, I mean, it does that to Sam Darnold, who comes out and looks like he's going to make the Pro Bowl in the first 3 games, and then Zach Wilson stands no chance.
None.
His career's over before it even started, unless he, maybe by the time Sam Darnold moves on from Matt Rule, Zach Wilson can go in there and.
Well, it's Bill Brady, the LSU offensive coordinator with Joe Burrow that national championship season. The offensive coordinator for LSU is now the offensive coordinator for the Panthers. That guy obviously knows how to call an offense and maximize the talent that he has.
Yeah, man. That was such just. I mean, I know if Tyrod Taylor's there, it's a whole different story for Houston, but
yeah,
because he was playing lights out for the first game and a half, but.
How about
that was my bad. Not a good start to the week.
How about Davis Mills's neck length? Have you seen those memes and those pictures? And I looked it up. It's true. The dude's got a double length neck. It's crazy.
It's like he can be known for that. Peyton was known for his forehead.
Yeah.
Davis Mills has got the neck. Hey, man. Which is probably not a good thing. But what do we think about the Panthers going forward now? Christian McCaffrey out again. Surprise, surprise.
I mean, but they got Chuba Hubbard as their backup, and that dude was a rock star at Oklahoma State a couple of years ago. Obviously had a bumpy ride in 2020, just like that entire team did. I don't think they're going to drop off as much as you think in the run game. However, I think that hurts the passing game quite a bit too. So they got a couple of tests coming up. They got Dallas next week, Philadelphia on the road the week, or maybe vice versa. But that's who they're playing, the Cowboys and Eagles next. So I think we're actually going to get a good measure these next couple of weeks on some of these teams that haven't been elite the last couple of years and see if they can make that leap and win some of these games because somebody's got to come out of them ahead.
And then speaking of good quarterback play, what the fuck happened to the Saints?
Oh.
What in the – what?
Yeah, So I stayed away just because I knew Quan Alexander was out. I knew Marcus Davenport was out. And then I saw Marcus Lattimore was out on Sunday morning. I'm like, I'm staying as far away from this game as humanly possible. I honestly think Carolina's defense is a lot better than we're giving them credit for, too. I mean, last night, obviously, against the rookie quarterback, that's one thing, and that abysmal safe play calling. But no, they got after Jameis. Jameis was not even looking like Jameis from 2019. So to be determined there. And the Saints got a tough matchup going up to New England this week. Bill Belichick's going to be ready to get after Jameis as well. So this could be a very, very important week for the Saints coming up because they did not look functional in any capacity last week.
No, that hurt my heart, my pocketbook, just all day Sunday. That was the one I wish I had back. Saints +3 right now, +124 on the money line. Over under at 42. Over under is interesting.
I'd probably take the under in all Patriots games this year.
Yeah. When before, I think after the first game, I'm going to be like, I'm going to take the over in every Saints game.
Yep.
Because that's what it looked like. But now, I might take the under every time. All right. So, what are we looking at this week?
So I locked it in earlier this week, actually, before I took off for work. Bias pick per usual. The Raiders covering 3.5 at home. It dropped a little bit after Derek Carr was announced questionable, but he's going to play. I mean, he's not going to finish that game Sunday like he did if he's banged up. Obviously, just being precautionary with the ankle. Don't want to tweak it going into the game. But at the same time, Miami coming off just a beatdown against Buffalo where they just couldn't stop the run. Josh Jacobs most likely out. Probably doesn't help the Raiders' case, but Allegiant's going to be rocking. Raiders at home, going to be 3-0. I like him by more than a touchdown. Revenge game from the Fitzmagic from last season.
Yeah, it's hard not to play the Raiders right now. They look good.
Yeah, they have a defense.
And of course, we say that. I think I said that last year for the first 8 weeks, and then they started to really start to let you down.
Started 6-2 last season.
Yeah. No Raiders. I like Raiders here. What do you think of this Chiefs-Chargers game?
Ooh, so I watched the Chargers-Cowboys game back last night when I got back. One of the worst officiated games I've ever seen in my entire life. So I got a few stances on this. The Chiefs don't ever cover. You pointed that out last week. The Chiefs just don't.
Even 1-6 against the spread last 7 games.
They just don't. Last year, that game is it's at Arrowhead. So last year, Mahomes was sitting in the game against the Chargers. Last game of the season, didn't matter if they win or lost. However, it was 23-20 at SoFi last season, keeping it tight. That was the Tyrod Taylor punctured lung game where Justin Herbert stepped in. I'm probably going to stay away from it. Chiefs might win it in like a 27-24 type game. I mean, the Chargers have the offense to keep up with them, so maybe it's just going to be a track meet like every Chiefs game is looking like it's going to be after watching Sunday Night Football. If I was playing, I'd probably take the Chargers +7.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs is every week it seems like they're just such a sucker bet.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the money is right now, but I guarantee it's mostly on the Chiefs. Yeah, Chargers 5-1 against the spread the last 6. They look good. I'm gonna ride them and fade Kansas City with the points until they prove otherwise. That's an angle I'm going to play all the time, literally. Right now, 78% of the money is on the Chiefs. 64% of the tickets. I fucking told you. That's how Vegas fucking wins, dude.
Yeah. Is that me betting on Miami? Is that what people are doing? Is that the scenario? It's funny. They just want to get burned by it every week.
Seriously, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. As dominant as we kind of view the Chiefs, it's like, well, they don't really.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't win by a whole lot, a lot of times, which is why the NFL is so hard. Colts, Titans. Titans are minus 4.5. First
up, how do you sprain both ankles? Never heard of that. I mean, I've had my fair share of injuries. We've been in sports. We've been in wrestling, the predominant, lion's share of our life. I've never seen somebody sprain both ankles at the same time until Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's that Colts one. I hit it last week. I shouldn't have. There's no reason the Colts should have covered that game.
Yeah, you look at it. The Rams will actually let you move the ball in between the 20s, and then they'll put the clamps down on you. So we saw that in that game. Carson Wentz injury. I mentioned it last week. I stayed away from Seattle and Tennessee because the Titans are going to get rolling at some point in time, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of it. Sure enough, in the second half of that football game, they got rolling. So might be a stay away because I've bet against, or I took the Colts week 1, didn't cover, went against them last week, and I lost. So maybe stay away, but if I was, I would take the Titans minus 4.5 at home.
Yeah, I'm 100% going to take the Titans in that game. The Colts showed me absolutely nothing, even though they covered. And I won money on that, but it was a bad bet.
Yeah. You feel good. I just got to go shower quick and get back, in a good space.
No, I'm going to roll with the Titans. As long as Derrick Henry is getting the ball in that backfield, I cannot stay away. They are like my Miami, but I win money sometimes on them. I always play it. It's like who the Titans play because I'm going to bet them, and who is playing against the Chiefs because I'm going to take them. Justin Fields getting his first start against the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, who everyone loves the Browns. I never liked the Browns. I'm not a fan. 7.5 that line right now. Over under 44.5.
Yeah, I'm probably road start, first NFL start. Browns have one of the most talented rosters in the entire league. So I would take the Browns to cover, but something says stay away from it for some odd reason. But then again, the Bears obviously got ran out of the stadium by the Rams. Bengals nearly came back and beat them. I'm going to talk myself into it. We're going to take the Browns to cover.
We're going to stay away and just get going and found it on its way. I might take the Bears again. They covered for me last week. 2. I won by 3. -2. I think giving Justin Fields, who didn't look super great when he came in for Dalton, how do you get a bone bruise and you weren't touched?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That injury was very weird, and somebody tweeted out prayers for Andy Dalton. And I'm like, literally no Bears fan is thinking that right now. They hope he broke his leg.
Yeah.
I think giving him an entire week of practice with the ones, that defense looks very good. The 3 picks on 3 throws. Baker Mayfield is not impervious to throwing interceptions. I think they're good, and I think the Browns will win. But there's something about the Bears. The Bears do well. If this was prime time, I'd be all over the Bears because that's when they always seem to find a way to cover and play great defense in prime time. I might go with the Bears there. I wouldn't touch the money line, but I might take the points.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe the Bears have a different spark with Justin Fields in there. He didn't look overly fantastic last week either. 6 for 13 for 60 yards and a pick. I think that Browns D might tee up and eat a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, probably that's what's going to happen, but still going to take the Bears. That one you could talk me out of.
Yeah.
I think ears are wide open listening to someone talk me out of that. Who do you like? What are your big plays then this week? Because everyone I want to play and I ask you about, you just kind of want to stay away from.
Honestly, I don't know why I'm so high on the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they lost the fumble.
Yeah, why?
Won. I mean, they missed the kick to win outright last week, but covered for me. I think the home opener, U.S. Bank Stadium, fans back, Seattle coming off a tough loss at home. I think the Vikes can actually catch the Seahawks at home this week. That's one of those toss-up games, but I will probably play Minnesota. That would be the money line play outside of the L.A. Rams, which I'll sprinkle. I think that's a big one that we should spend some time talking about, so let's table that. I like Kyler going down to Jacksonville and covering 7.5. I don't think Jacksonville can stay competitive with that offense. I mean, the over-under's at 51.5. I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona gets to 42. Yeah.
Yeah, but asking Jacksonville to score 10 might be a big ask.
Yeah. I'm staying away from Atlanta and New York. Two bad teams just don't even want to play it. It is the line in Baltimore at Detroit is at Baltimore -8, which I thought was interesting. I mean, we saw the Lions come back against the Niners, who I have my thoughts and questions on. I'm sure we'll talk about that Packers matchup. And then they get shut out in the second half against a not very good at all Green Bay defense, in my humble opinion. So that was an interesting line. The Ravens obviously flying high coming off a win. But 8 points at home is a lot.
Yeah. Going back to that Vikings, that line seems very low at 2.5.
Yep.
The Seahawks and Vikings, which when you first said you were going to take the Vikings, I thought it was going to be closer to like 7. God, the Seahawks can't be that bad.
They gave it away last week. Like, just shut her down.
And the Vikings, they were favored last week too.
No, the Vikings were
weren't they?
3.5-point dogs.
Were they?
Yep.
Oh yeah, duh.
I think over 55 is a fantastic play for that game because they both can score a lot of points, and both are coming off shootouts last week as well.
Oh yeah, that might be the halftime over under. No, let me pull this up. I want to see where the money's going because I might need to fade some people. Cardinals, getting 90% of the money right now, 87% of tickets.
I mean, I wouldn't even try to fade the public on Jacksonville's behalf. Like, I would just jump in. Yeah,
I don't know, but does Trevor Lawrence ever have a good game? I feel like he's going to have to eventually.
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly sold on Arizona's defense. Obviously, Minnesota's moving the ball pretty well against them. I mean, they shut down Tennessee, but Tennessee just laid an egg. It happens. We've seen that from time to time.
Yeah, the Cardinals really let me down last week. Damn. I don't know if the fade the public ankle is going to work there. 88% of money on the Browns right now.
Ooh.
I'll fade there. I'll definitely take the Bears then. What was the other one you brought up?
Seattle or Minnesota.
That's right. Interesting. Seahawks, 70% of the tickets, 43% of the money. Vikings getting 30% of tickets, 57% of the money. There's a lot of big bets going on there.
Wow.
Huh. I hate it when it's like that because I can never put a pulse on whether or not are all these big bets really sharp people or all it's just dumb people with a lot of money.
Right, dumb people love. I mean, gambling is entertainment for the rich. We all know that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I thought Arizona would have blown the doors off the Vikings and they couldn't even cover like 3.5.
But they should have lost the game. I can't believe Minnesota still has kicking woes. I mean, I can't even imagine.
And then what was it, Detroit?
Yeah, that line's a little fishy. I'm probably just going to stay away in general because I probably won't even have a chance to watch it on Sunday.
Yeah, Baltimore should win, but bouncing back after getting your ass kicked. 7.5. Yeah, that one's funny. I'd stay away from that one too. But no, I'm all for the over in that Vikings. I can't bet the Vikings. I just can't trust them.
It feels so weird betting on the Vikings and Bears, like in favor of them too. You know what I mean? Like it just
because then I'm sitting there and I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right.
Rams Bucks.
So here we go. This is going to be the football game of the week.
This one will be good.
So the fun part about this is I unfortunately won't be able to watch it live because it's blacked out in the Vegas market because the Raiders are playing at that time. Yeah. I mean, I would love to have both TVs up for this one, but I mean, watching both of these teams as much as I have, I mean, obviously I'm a Sean McVay type guy. The Rams being at home at SoFi. I mean, this is the Bucs' first road game of the season. They opened up with 2 straight at home. That kind of steers me towards the Rams on that logic a little bit. The Rams' defense is very bend but don't break, so they let you move the ball in between the 20s. They'll shut you down inside the 20. I'm curious to see how they're going to match up defensively because they like to run a lot of that just soft zone coverage and hopefully get pressure with Aaron Donald and company up front. I don't know if that's the case against that Tampa Bay offensive line. That Tampa Bay offensive line is pretty good. You know, Tampa's defense came alive, with a couple of pick sixes last week. I don't think Stafford's going to give them that, if you will. Over 55.5 is probably going to be the play here because both offenses can go. I just don't know who's going to win outright, especially with a 1-point spread. I mean, it's pretty much a pick 'em anyways.
66% of the tickets and 63% of the cash on the Bucs right now. I like the thought of going into SoFi. That place is going to be absolutely electric.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely electric because everyone in the world is going to want to watch the Rams kick the living dog shit out of Tom Brady. Yes. I think just being at home to me is so big for the Rams here. I like that a lot. I like getting points. Might get it up to like 2 if the money keeps rolling in on the Bucs. We'll see what happens in the next 48 hours. But yeah, I might just go straight Rams money line then.
Yeah, I mean it's plus money. It's worth the bet. I'm definitely taking that over though. I don't think there's any way that either offenses really get slowed down. I haven't seen enough out of either defenses to slow. I mean, Dak came out and slung it for 400 yards opening night. Matt Ryan was actually moving the ball before the pick sixes. What do you think Stafford and McVay are going to be able to come up with? And same thing, like Tampa's offense is a juggernaut. I mean, you say what you want, about Tom Brady, and everybody knows my feelings on that. But I mean, look at everything they got on offense. I mean, I know Antonio Brown's on the COVID list, but they have everything still set. They still got Mike Evans, still got Chris Godwin, they got Gronk, they got Scotty Miller. They just keep loaded.
Yeah, I like Stafford to just light the fuck up.
Yeah,
just light it up at SoFi. Yeah, Rams at home right now. I'd play that all the time. Yeah. I still get messages from a guy. I thought about when I lived in LA. I thought about getting Rams season tickets when they first built SoFi, and they were stupid cheap. Like because at the time they hadn't gone to the Super Bowl yet, and they no one really watched them as much. So when they first were selling them, nobody really wanted them. And I get a call every week, like, "Hey man, you still interested in maybe this?" And then I ended up moving away, but I still get emails about that all the time. I'm like, they're still trying to sell season tickets out there.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch. Well, let's move prime time. Got the Green Bay Packers, which here I have a very big problem with this. When the fuck do we ever get to play them at Lambeau?
Exactly. If this was at Lambeau, it's a no-brainer. But Aaron Rodgers does not play well in Santa Clara. He just doesn't. I still have bad memories of Clay Matthews just biting on those zone read play fakes with Kaepernick just running wild and free. I have so much FOMO with that stadium, but I can't imagine the Packers going 1-2 with what they have on offense.
Yeah, honestly, the 49ers didn't look. Haven't looked that great.
No, the Lions come back. I watched the Philly-San Fran game, and it was like Philly didn't want to win. They had 4th and goal from the 2, and they went for the Philly special. like pretty much telegraphed it. Like I bet you fans on the couch saw it coming. So I can only imagine what, NFL defenders can pick up on.
Yeah. They watch a lot more tape than we do, I'm sure.
Yeah. They got cut a break when Jalen Reagor stepped out of bounds and back in. That took a touchdown off the board. It was just a lot of things that went against the Eagles that day and in favor of the Niners. So that's their home opener too, because they played at Detroit and that game was at Philadelphia. So this is San Fran's home opener. So that place is going to be rocking as well.
Yeah, this is a scary, scary 3-point line. 49ers favored, which rightfully so, I guess. Yeah. Also, can we talk about Philadelphia? You can never run the Philly special ever again.
No,
it's one of the most iconic plays
ever.
Like as soon as they sniff even a hint of it, it's like, okay, well, this is coming.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you line up, you motion it in. I mean, from the couch, like, okay, yeah, it's going to be the Philly special. You'll throw it back to the quarterback. It's like, yeah.
Like you need a new trick play because that one's never going to work again.
Well, in a lot of these offenses inside the 10, I'm like, why don't you just bang the football into the end zone? Like, why are we trying all this motion and crazy route concepts? Just run the football. Like, just get your bigs up there. Say, hey, we got 4 plays to get 4 yards. Let's go get it. Colts tried to do that against the Rams and it didn't work out. But, yeah, on that first period, that's what they did. They marched it right down. They had first and goal from the 3, and they didn't get in.
4 straight plays, couldn't gain an inch.
Well, that's also against Aaron Donald,
Yeah, so that's the exception to why wouldn't you do that?
Even in this Niners game, so Aaron Rodgers historically does not play well against them. However, Aaron Rodgers historically plays very well. So the last time we saw him play there was the NFC Championship game where they just ran the football all over the Packers. The Niners again are just kind of banged up. Deebo Samuel looks very good this season. I think he actually leads the NFL in receiving yards. So they get him involved very heavily in the offense. That's right, D-Rest, bang that football.
Unless it's against Aaron Donald.
Yeah, unless it's against Aaron Donald. So, the matchup, I have no fear of San Fran's defense, especially with Aaron Rodgers slinging it around. However, their run game, Kyle Shanahan knows how to run bang the ball better than anybody. So that's the big fear, especially against that Green Bay defense with Smith still out. But man, there's just something in the gut. And sometimes you got to trust the gut to say, hey, I watched both teams play every snap that they played this season. I think at this point, the Packers are a better football team. So we got to go with the Packers on the money line in that game. Actually unbiased just by what I've watched and what my gut is telling me to do.
Yeah. You'd think eventually Aaron Rodgers is going to go in there and win. And yeah, this isn't the 49ers from the NFC Championship game. This was a much different, I want to say worse. How many times can Jimmy Garoppolo throw 9 passes and beat the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah.
I would lean towards the Packers there too. That might be biased for me though, because there's something in my gut that's telling me we can't fucking win there. We go there all the time, it feels like. Can never seem to play him at Lambeau, which I just don't get. What's the money say? Money's pretty even. 45% of the Packers, 55 on the 49ers. Bigger bets coming in on the Niners, -3. Okay, so you brought this up too when we were chatting. What kind of impressions? Can we start to form an actual idea of what these teams are yet after 2 games, or is it still just kind of a fucking crapshoot?
I still think it's kind of a crapshoot because you look at these, okay, we're going into the season our Super Bowl favorites, Tampa Bay. Well, they let Dallas hang around. Is Dallas better than we're thinking they are? I'm leaning towards yes. Then you go to the Rams. Well, the Rams, struggled and pretty much tried to give the Colts every reason and every chance to win that game. You look at the Packers, obviously, back-to-back 13-3 seasons, back-to-back NFC Championship game appearances. They lay an egg week 1, and we think the Saints are this dominant team that just gets dominated by Carolina. So there's not a whole lot of we know what these teams are like. Even The Raiders may be one of the most impressive teams for the first 2 weeks. I mean, their defense is creating turnovers. They're getting stops when they need to. Derek Carr leads the league in passing, and they're still not sold on them. There's still a lot more football to be played. They beat 2 playoff teams from last season. There's still the jury out on the Broncos. I mean, great, you beat the Giants, you beat the Jags, and you're going to beat the Jets this weekend. So you're going to be 3-0. You're going to be on top of the AFC. So there's still so much football to be played, and one injury can steer it one way or the other. So I'm just going by what I've seen since the week 1 snaps up until everything that I'm seeing going into tomorrow that can make me judge. So the only one that I'm thinking I'm steering on is the Cowboys are a lot better than we think they are, but Mike McCarthy will find a way to mess that up.
One of the things too that we're coming into the season, I thought it was absolutely hilarious how everyone thought the Jaguars were going to be like good.
Yeah.
Because they have Trevor Lawrence. Like, what? No. Like, they're still really bad.
And it's not like Gardner Minshew was bad in any capacity. Like, he actually played well to the point where they benched him so they could get better odds to get the first overall pick.
And then Trevor Lawrence, who comes in as a rookie. If I'm Jacksonville, I still want Gardner Minshew in there right now. Trevor Lawrence hasn't shown me nothing through 2 games, and that might change. And I might get suckered into betting them for – yeah, I don't know if I can know that. I mean, they're bad, but they did nothing all offseason to really improve their defense, improve their offense, really. I thought drafting ETN was the dumbest thing.
Yes.
Using the first-round pick on his teammate running back from Clemson. Like, you need so much more help. And you have James Robinson still, who had a really great year.
Yeah, that was one of their strengths was James Robinson.
And you only had one strength.
I mean, I don't know. They're probably going to be at the top of the draft board again, no questions. I mean, it's just them and the Jets, again, going to be at the top of the draft board. First 2 weeks of me watching that Patriots-Jets game back, Bill Belichick knew exactly what Zach Wilson was going to do and baited him into everything. Like, rolled coverages, like exactly where he wanted Zach Wilson to throw the ball. I don't know if you saw the tip drill play, but they tipped it like 3 times to each other, and they came up with a pick. Like, they were so well prepared for that. It was just crazy. And you can have all the confidence in the world, but when you're, kid from Draper, Utah that played all of his college football at BYU, and now he's in New York City, that is a completely different situation. This is one extreme to the other.
Well, you kind of knew that was going to happen. Like, do you remember the photo of him at the draft?
Yeah.
Or the video, and he just looks so like young kid, shy, and then it's like, oh, we're going to throw him into New York City and let him figure that out. Good luck, kid.
Yeah.
What did he end up throwing 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was all very quickly too. Him and Joey B had a pretty good time throwing the ball to the other team. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, rookie quarterback. I don't even want to bet on most of them because I don't know what to get. And honestly, we looked back and we talked about the Patriots or Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. That should have been the most mortal lock I think there was.
Yep. Because it was at 6, and I think that's what scared me away. It was a 6-point spread, but I hit on the under in that game, so that gives me faith that – because Mac Jones isn't going out there and being asked to light up the world. He just asked to go out there and get the ball where it needs to be, which he can do. So that's why I like the Patriots and unders quite a bit this entire season.
Yeah, that defense is very good. And Bill Belichick is still a really good football coach.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's proved that because they won a lot more games than they should have last year. And
and a couple free plays away from going 9-7 with an atrocious Cam Newton at quarterback, and all of those opt-outs on defense.
Cam Newton, who just got retired by a rookie.
Yeah. Final game, Monday Night Football.
Real quick though, Denver covering 10 points. Teddy covers.
Got to be, and it's
against the Jets.
It's at Mile High. Yeah,
that should be a no-brainer. Monday night. Let's talk about it.
Like the Cowboys, like I mentioned a few times, I think they're better than what we've given them credit for. I think the Eagles aren't as good as people are giving them credit for after slapping Atlanta in week 1. So is that the Cowboys home opener too? Because they were in SoFi last week. And so,
Tampa,
3.5. I'm taking the Cowboys 3.5 to cover easily.
This is kind of a tell-all game for both these teams. I really think is I'm not sold on the Cowboys yet. I want to be kind of.
I like Dak.
But also,
I like Dak. He seems like an awesome guy. I like him.
I love it. I mean, I like his warm-up. I'm a big fan of the whatever that dance is. But God, it feels so weird always trying to take them. I hate that under in the Chargers game last week. That helped. But they got to be better than the Eagles. Eagles aren't good.
No. I mean, looking at their roster top to bottom, it's like, yeah, they do have pieces, but they don't have any like just standout players. You know what I mean? Like they have 2 first-round wideouts that they're working with. They got Jalen Hurts, who looked very good against the Falcons, and then it didn't look terrible last week, but nothing really jumped off the screen. He did have that nice deep ball to Rager that was called back, but I don't know. Cowboys might have a defense. Micah Parsons might be the one creating a little bit of chaos.
He took so much flack in that opener too.
I know,
because fucking old Warren Sharp tweeted out there, "Oh, it fucking looks lost," and then he got buried, which was great. Yeah, I would. You touching the over at all?
No.
51.5.
I thought Dallas and over would be a play, and after last week, I'm like, you're probably going to stay away from it. But then again, primetime games, other than last night, have gone over this entire season.
There's an angle. Let's see what the public says. Public says, "Wow, dead even."
That feels like a dead even game.
Yeah.
I mean, division. So that's a division of dogs too. I mean, you bet the dogs in the division in the NFC East plus the points. It usually is pretty profitable. I mean, we could probably do some research behind that, but that's kind of a known play. I mean, Giants +4 hit week 1 or week 2 in that divisional game. I mean, this could be a 27-24 type game where Cowboys win but don't cover.
Yeah, it just feels so wrong. I feel like the Cowboys should just bitch slap the shit out of the Eagles, but who knows? Maybe the Eagles are better. I mean, you got to think if Hurts ends up being something, you've got Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor out there, 2 young guys. I mean, that offense could be
good.
2 years away, a year away from being pretty just fucking running. I would stick. Yeah, I'll tell you there with the Cowboys. Well, shit, that's like all of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What else we want to talk about?
That's about it. We'll, I got a split to get tatted up here pretty quick, and I know you're feeling a little bit weather. So, if they want to follow the picks, I'll tweet out my morning college picks, which should be slim after last week's massacre in the morning slate, and hopefully bounce back and get some winners cranking in the afternoon. And then obviously we'll tweet out our picks for the NFL slate as we go along in the week. And follow along, join in on the banter. I'm always up for shit talking in any capacity. Will not be able to hurt my feelings, and I like people when they fire back. So clown picks, I'm looking at you this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Old clown picks. Who ended up looking like a clown.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, he's going to get me a few times this season. I can guarantee it.
D-Rest said you shouldn't get tatted up. They're sinful.
Well, that's living in Las Vegas.
Yeah, not much else. Well, gamble and get tats.
Yeah.
A lot of places to gamble and a lot of places to get tattoos out there.
All right, my friend, anything else you want to cover? Any prop talk? I hit on Lamar Jackson, anytime TD score at plus money. Aaron Rodgers over 2.5 touchdowns at plus money. I don't play a lot of props, but when I look at anything that's plus money, I will look at it and do my research on what I'm thinking with it. Any strategy towards props, because I don't really do the Christian McCaffrey over 54.5 rushing yards.
I did not have any time to look at props. I might have some when we tweet out picks. The one thing that comes to my mind would be Devontae Adams anytime touchdown scorer, because he's gonna have to get one eventually.
Yes.
Like he's not had one in 2 games where it felt like he had one every single game last year.
Yeah, he finished with 19 TDs and he was out 2.5 games.
Yeah, it was stupid fucking crazy. So I would imagine he's gonna have to get one here pretty soon. So I'm just playing he's gonna have to get one. So why not be this week? Maybe even 2. Maybe 2+. I don't know. What's it for 2+ touchdowns? I'll say this right now. I'm going to play it. Plus 600.
Wow.
To get
I would throw $50 at that. That's worth $50 right there.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy. No props right now. Yeah, I'll look at them, put them out there. As always, this was fun. Stay tuned, everyone. Tweeting out picks all weekend long, starting tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah.
And then let's say we win some fucking money this week, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we cashed out quite a bit last week. I mean, Raiders money line pick. I always throw 100 at that when they're a dog, so that always treats me well. My John Gruden future bet of him winning NFL Coach of the Year at plus 4,500 is in fantastic shape, if I do say so myself.
Yeah,
this is the most biased pick I will ever have.
What'd you get it at? 45?
Plus 4,500. Yep.
Oh.
I didn't put 100 on that. I literally put $20 on it.
Well, it's so weird too. I didn't even see that prop.
Circa actually has tons and tons and tons of props, where a lot of places and casinos out here even don't. That's why I've been steering towards the Circa. They got more props. I mean, it's just easy.
That comment by D-Rest made me lose my train of thought.
We need D-Rest and Drunk Star Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, shout out Drunky Steve Sarkisian, who didn't show up today. Hopefully we'll get him in next week.
Back.
He's a good time. All right, man. Well, let's wrap this up, because I'm going to go back to bed and you got to get tatted. Thanks, everyone who watched and will watch. Shout out D-Rest for coming in on the chat. That was nice. D-Rest is a big D-Rest like sends, I think it's him that sends like Randy and Sarah a bunch of like swag and shit, and he doesn't send me anything.
Well, come on, D-Rest, hook up AJ here. Come on, ride on the picks, hook him up with some stuff.
I think he was the one who sent them like a random Santa Anita football jersey. I could be wrong about that. It might be somebody else, but I'm pretty sure it was him. So shout out D-Rest, showing up the chat. We will see you guys next week. Hopefully we win a bunch of fucking money. Stay tuned for the D-Gen tweets coming out, and Tyler's Twitter. He has them on there as well. And then I just take those and put them on D-Gen's Twitter so we can take credit for them. That's the reason we brought you here.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. If you want to chat picks, whatever, I'm just going to be sitting in a chair for the next 8 hours. So feel free to hop in my DMs, Twitter, Instagram. I'll just be out.
And it's not often, too, someone says, hey, just tweet me and talk shit to me. Like,
I'm one of a kind. That is for sure.
Let's just fight on Twitter. Fuck it. Love it. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you guys next week. Good luck.
All right. Rest up, AJ.